You're listening to Kizuki, the podcast. I'm Mae Yoshikawa, and I define the Japanese concept of Kizuki as the following. Kizuki. 1. A moment of epiphany, an aha of realization or insight which opens the knower to a new dimension of truth that was formerly unknown. 2. Steps in an incremental growth of awareness, resulting in a movement from ignorance to greater awareness of the bigger picture. A kind of knowing that cannot be undone, that cannot be unrealized. As a longtime yoga and meditation practitioner, a world traveler, and curious self-explorer, I'm obsessed with Kizukis. Listen on each week for inspiring and enlightening stories that may just tip you over for your next aha. On this week's episode, From the Rebel to the Receiver. So I have been reeling off of these domino Kizukis, and for the last few nights in a row, I found myself stepping out onto the terrace after the kids went to bed. I told them, Mom still needs to get some work done. But I didn't mean work. It was more like the work of meeting myself and taking care of myself. So what was I doing out there? I was just standing there under the early summer sky, alone. And I remembered how I used to do that as a teenager after my parents' divorce. I would go up on the rooftop of the apartment building where I used to live at the time, in shock, in openness, just bare, and needing to be. Finding little stars in faraway Tokyo skies, and feeling solace in feeling that I too am just a speck of dust in the big wide universe. Now that I look back on it, I think my whole point was that I wasn't doing anything. In those moments, I wasn't solving a problem or working on my next book. I wasn't recording a podcast or planning my future. I wasn't even trying to figure it out. I was just stepping out, as if to take a time out from it all, to leave the game of life. And somewhere in those evenings, I realized I had no idea what even to do with myself anymore. Then in the beginning, I felt some sense of rebellion rising. It was like this rebellion through refusing to do anything, refusing any form of self-improvement, productivity, trying to figure out my future, refusing to become. Because for most of my life, if I wasn't growing, working, healing, or striving, I felt like I wasn't being myself. It was like I had built this whole identity around enduring hardships in the best, most productive way possible. Like somehow all the accomplishments would help to even out the keel for me or something. And lately, something in me has been pushing back. No more carrier, the one who carries issues. No more endurer, the one who needs to endure difficult situations. No more making myself to be measurably productive just to feel safe in this world. But once I stop all of those things, then who am I? Once I stop striving, what do I do? Once I stop trying to become, who is it that remains? For me, it was like this unspoken sense that just left me in this vast, open void. And let me tell y'all, Well, actually, I probably don't have to tell you because I'm sure you can relate. This vast open void is a scary place for most of us. For me, sometimes before I go to bed, in this vastness, I would have pages and pages of life reflection before me that shows up. I mean, I'm not really a visual person, but this sense, a cognizance, and remembrance of these particular scenes would pop up one after another. And this month has been a full one. I had scenes from my birthday event with my community members, going on long walks with my sister, my son's high school band rocking it in this live event, and a lovely dinner at our favorite Thai restaurant. And as these scenes flip through my mind, a major heart squeeze, the kind that pushes tears up the tear ducts. I wasn't sad, but I noticed that maybe it had been a long time since I had these kinds of ordinary happiness. Not the extra big special happenings like awards and celebrations and taking the stage and stuff, but the ordinary day-to-day ones. It was like I wasn't used to that level of ordinary happiness. And suddenly I found myself lying there thinking, wow, I'm grateful. I'm happy. I mean, not that things got solved. I still had the same issues and the same projects that are unfinished, and a whole future that's not at all figured out. No new person or new ideas to magically sweep me off my feet. No lightning bolt. And yet, somehow, my state had completely shifted. The kizuki was slight, but certainly there. It was like I've been conditioned to think I feel bad because I have a problem. But what if that's not really the problem? It's like sometimes we feel bad because things just happen, like the weather happens. Maybe it's just a necessary part of nature's process. And the weather changes, not because we were the ones who solved it, just because we lived and held up through a few more hours. That's how simply I felt it to be. And then on a separate night, as I tucked my 8-year-old Aiden into bed, he said to me, "Mom, you are the bestest, most perfectest mom in the world." And on this night, no part of my mind resisted that. In fact, I was like, you might be right. And I want to take note of that because I know that my old self and my old wounds, they don't just make us reject criticism. They make us reject celebrations and big, open, giving love, support. My kizuki wasn't that he said that. Kids say things like that. My kizuki was more like, oh, for the first time in my own mind and heart, there's nothing. There's not a speck, not a tiny little percentage in me that would argue or find reasons against what he said. And I didn't dodge it either. And I know that this is a delicate issue because it's something that goes on internally. Well, sometimes it can go on externally too, like when someone gives you a compliment and you're like, oh no, oh, it's not like that. Or, we dodge it or we don't receive it. And if we don't do it externally, very often we're doing it internally, where it's like we're negotiating with the compliment or the gift of support that was given to us. And it's like we have to qualify it or explain it or talk ourselves through, am I really worthy of receiving it? And then we end up diminishing it, like, Oh, that's a sweet little kid thing to say. But on this night, that wasn't what I did. I actually received it just because I could. So, how much of our suffering has to do with our inability to receive freely? Receive love, big love, support, happiness, just the capacity to live an ordinary, beautiful day mixed with challenges and troubles and highs and lows. I received Aiden's compliment, not because I'm literally a flawless mother, of course not. And I would think that that's not even why Aiden gave it to me. What he was saying was, in my world, you are deeply loved. And I let that land. You know, this whole time, I've been asking, who am I becoming? And the real truth is, I don't know. I can't know. And I can only know in the day-to-day unfolding of it. But I'm witnessing this for sure. I am becoming someone who can finally receive. Yes, the love, support, and happiness, but also receiving this uncertain place. And maybe that's the beginning of receiving the next chapter before I know what it is, or before I take off with the need to define what it is in a limiting way. I think for me, the rebel was completely necessary. She was the one who stood up for me to finally stop carrying what was never mine to carry. But I also know deep in my heart that this rebel place isn't where I'm ultimately headed. I think the receiver is. The one who can stand under an early summer sky, not knowing what comes next, not in a perfect world, but with all of the mess, and still open to letting life love me. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you took a moment to rate, review, or share the show with someone who might be ready to discover that there's a name for the moments of awareness and subtle shifts they've been experiencing on their own journey. If you're curious to experience Kizuki journaling, you can explore my guided journaling sessions at maey.live under On Demand. Each session explores a single theme through just 3 journal prompts woven together with a guided meditation. If you'd like to join a live session on Zoom, sign up for my newsletter at the bottom of maey.live or kizukijournaling.com to be the first to hear about upcoming sessions. Until next time, may your next Kizuki gently find you.